What's going on, beautiful people? Machiavelli Mills TV, y'all. And look, I've been so elated since I heard this news. I've been on such a cloud nine since I heard it. I've been so excited. Jackson State University and Hall of Fame football player, now head coach at Jackson State University, Deion Sanders, has secured the #1 football player in the country, Mr. Travis Hunter, man. Travis Hunter is a great young defensive back with a lot of pure talent, man. And look, I just want to congratulate Jackson State University for landing this young prospect. I want to congratulate Mr. Deion Sanders. I want to congratulate Mr. Travis Hunter. And I want to congratulate HBCUs in general, man, because this is a paradigm-shifting move. This is groundbreaking. This is game-changing, and I'm so excited for HBCUs and Jackson State University for real, man. This is the first time that an FCS school, better yet, an HBCU, has ever landed a top 50 talent ever. So this is monumental for real, man. And look, Mr. Travis Hunter can serve as a trailblazer for other young prominent black athletes to choose an HBCU to continue their athletic careers, man. Look, I've been soaking everything in. I've been looking at all the different comments and all the different reactions to the news. And first, I've been so excited, but I've also been extremely pissed, but not surprised at the criticism that Mr. Travis Hunter is receiving, man. Like, for the past few days, I've heard it all, from the pissed off good old boys that want the old guard of prominent black athletes going to predominantly white institutions to remain intact. I've heard disrespect from Florida State University football fans. I've heard some very disrespectful words from some current coaches and prominent media members like Doug Gottlieb and so on and so forth. But look, this is the thing, man. Look, and it's all so crazy to me because they only mad because Travis Hunter decided to decommit from a predominantly white institution and head to a HBCU, right? He wanted to leave he didn't want to be at the Power 5 conference school, and he wanted to be at the HBCU, and now it's a problem. Because the first thing I heard was, well, this is what happens when you just throw money at kids. When you just throw money at a kid, this is what happens. And I'm looking, scratching my head like, wow, the hypocrisy, right? It's so weird that people want to stand on this moral high ground now. Oh, this is what happens when you just throw money at a kid, as if we all don't know that these other kids have been getting paid under the table from the Power 5 conference schools all the time. This has been going on for the longest of longest, right? They have been paying these top players under the table for so long, and now that now that it ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun, right? When the shoe was on the other foot, now it's a problem. And it wouldn't have been a problem if this kid would have decided to decommit from Florida State University and go to Georgia, go to LSU. If he would have decided to go to Ohio State, Michigan, Alabama, so on and so forth, it would have been fine. But the fact that he's going to the fact that he's going to a historically black college and university, now it's a problem. Now it's an issue, right? And I'm looking like, wow, it's a problem now because you're upset that Deion Sanders and Mr. Travis Hunter are attempting to even the playing field. It's creating, now that they're attempting to create parity in college football, and now it's a problem, right? See, this should be the plan for young, prominent black athletes. Make historically black colleges great again for real, man. And they always have been great for real, but in the athletic field, we always have known some of the most prominent Hall of Famers have come from historically black colleges and universities. It's a fact. Jerry Rice went to my alma mater, Mississippi Valley State University. Deacon Jones, the man that is responsible for the sack being a statistic, came from my alma mater, Mississippi Valley State University. And before that, he went to South Carolina State University and then played his last year football at Mississippi Valley State University, man, and then went on to do great things in the NFL. Mr. Michael Strahan came from Texas Southern, right? Robert Brazile, and Walter Payton went to Jackson State University. All these are Steve McNair, not a Hall of Famer, but a great football player that came from Alcorn State University. Shannon Sharp, a Hall of Famer, came from Savannah State University. A lot of the prominent players in the NFL came from HBCUs once upon a time. And now we can get back to setting the mold, setting the trend for that to occur again, man. And it's so crazy because I heard all the crazy criticism. After that, I heard he will never get the proper development or coaching at Jackson State that he would have gotten at a Power 5 school. Listen, y'all, are y'all crazy? The kid is a defensive back, and he's playing for fucking Deion Sanders, the greatest defensive back to ever walk this earth. So what are you talking about? He's not going to get the proper coaching and development. If it's anybody that knows how to play defensive back, it's damn sure Deion Sanders. And then the coaching staff is full of is full of coaches that used to coach at the professional level. They used to coach in the NFL. So what are y'all talking about, right? It's just you upset that he's not at the Power 5 school. That's all it is, man. Then I heard that the NFL won't be attracted to him no matter what he does because he's playing against inferior talent. So let me get this straight, right? The NFL has no fucking problem plucking Carson Wentz and Trey Lance out of North Dakota State, out of a North Dakota State program, but they won't take anybody from Jackson State because it's an FCS school. It's FCS football. So so is North Dakota State. North Dakota State is also an FCS school, and they picked up Trey Lance and Carson Wentz from there, right? So get the hell up out of here with that. Like all that crazy talk, you just mad. It's just unfathomable because now a young kid is choosing to go to an HBCU, a historically black college and university, right? Excuse me. Then I heard there haven't been any prominent players to come from an HBCU since the ancient times. This theory of a player going to an HBCU and being a dominant pro will never work. Well, I'll tell you that the third highest paid linebacker in the NFL is Mr. Darius Leonard of the Indianapolis Colts. And where did he go to school at? Where? South Carolina State University. And he was drafted in the second round of that draft. The second round, man. So get up out of here with that, man. Then I heard he needs to go somewhere with better resources for good medical facilities if he gets injured. Because look what happened to Master P's son when he went to Tennessee State, right? And I would like to say this. I love Master P, but P and him I think are being disingenuous. Let's be real, man. I don't think Master P's son is at the level that P thinks he's at. So he wasn't getting that much playing time. He wasn't starting at Tennessee State. And I think that was a problem for Master P that his son wasn't getting a lot of playing time because I just don't think his son is that good the way he think he is. And now they're choosing to go to another institution. And now they're trying to say that it's because of the medical facilities. I don't think that's the problem. I don't think that was really the problem with that whole situation. But you got other individuals who are using that as some type of leverage or some type of talking point to prove that HBCUs are inferior, like Doug Gottlieb, because Doug Gottlieb said this shit, right? Then he goes on to say better educational resources. He would have that at a Power 5 school if he would have went there. They don't have that at Jackson State. If he doesn't last in the pros, you know what I'm saying? Because Jackson State doesn't get nearly the same kind of money put into their school or athletic programs that a FSU or other Power 5 school gets, right? Well, first of all, Mr. Doug Gottlieb, do you know why that is? Do you know why they don't get the same kind of money put into their school or athletic programs? It's because the states do not give HBCUs equal funding that they give PWIs. They don't give them that. They don't give them equal funding. That's for one, right? And that shit is not even close. They don't get nearly the same amount of funding, right? Second of all, PWIs, predominantly white institutions, those Power 5 schools receive endowments that bring in hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Also, they got all these different alumni that's just trying to what kills me. Dr. Dre and them giving USC all this damn mega millions. They don't need that shit. They got all the mega millions they want in the world. All because his kid go there or something like that. Bro, take your money and give it back to the HBCUs that are needed, that really need it. That really, really need that money. They're struggling to stay open sometimes and all that. They dealing with all type of resource issues. Give it to those historically black colleges because they not getting them endowments that them PWIs are getting at all. So cut it out, man. Furthermore, I hear people asking black people, why do you want black players to play at HBCUs now? Why is it important that they go there? It sounds like you guys want segregation. It sounds racist, don't you think? Well, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Let me tell you all about HBCUs, man. Historically black colleges and universities educate there. First of all, they sit in predominantly black neighborhoods for the most part, right? So they educate a lot of the people from the area. A lot of the black young kids get educated by these universities for several reasons, right? A lot of times, some of these PWIs don't give some of those poor and disenfranchised black kids opportunities to go to their schools. They don't get it. They don't get into some of these programs, and the HBCUs give them a chance to receive a great education, give them a chance to succeed in life, give them a chance to earn certifications to be successful and lead a lucrative life after school. They give these young kids a shot and opportunity to excel. They educate a lot of these kids from poor and disenfranchised areas. So we need these institutions. Case in point, right? Me, I did very well at school, right? I had an unweighted GPA of 3.7, a weighted GPA of 4.5, and we had weighted and unweighted GPAs because in my school I took all honors classes and we had advanced placement classes, and I was in both of those. So I had my GPA shot up above a 4.0 because we had a such thing as as a weighted GPA. Unweighted GPA, mine was 3.7. I had a 24 on the ACT. I applied to all the big schools. I applied to University of Illinois. I applied to University of Minnesota. I applied to Southern Illinois, Edwardsville. I applied to I'm trying to think some other schools I applied to. I applied to Indiana. I applied to all these big schools, right? You know what I'm saying? I applied to HBCUs as well. But the school that gave me a full academic scholarship, knowing my family could not afford school for real, could not afford college, was Mississippi Valley State University, an HBCU. They took a chance on me and gave me a full academic scholarship so I can go to school and really, because they knew I couldn't. I'm sure a lot of black kids can't afford college. College is so expensive. They took a chance on me and gave me the opportunity to go to that school and get educated. And I got educated at a prominent level. Despite people thinking we have a watered down curriculum and all that bullshit, it really pisses me off because people assume these things and never even been in the classroom at an HBCU. They never even been inside of these departments at an HBCU. But I went to Mississippi Valley State University, and the mass communication department there, mass comm department there prepared me for life all across the board, right? But look, case in point, I went to the school and got a full academic scholarship. There are a lot of school HBCUs giving kids full rides to go to school and get educated. So it's important that these schools stay open. A lot of these schools don't have the resources that they need that the other PWIs have. And so in order to change that, the black kids going to the HBCUs will generate money, generate revenue for the schools, because the camera crews are going to follow the top talent no matter where they go, right? Travis Hunter is the #1 player in the country. Some have him #2, tomato, whatever, right? Some of them have him #2, some of them have him #1, right? When he goes to a school, all eyes are going to be wherever he goes. The camera crews are going to follow, which is going to generate revenue for the school. This money is going to be piling in. Locals that would never even want to go see an HBCU football game are going to want to go see that young kid play because he's that good, right? Which will bring in money to allocate resources to not only the athletic programs, to the academic programs, to the STEM department, to the mass communication department, to the education department, to the accounting program, to the psychology department, to the social work program, so on and so forth. All this money will be able to be put into the institution so that the school can thrive in every arena, just like the predominantly white institutions, because those black kids have been funneling money into PWIs for the longest, keeping them rich, the rich getting richer time and time again. It's time for the HBCUs to get some of that money, that those black athletes be putting into the predominantly white institutions, so that these HBCUs can stay open, stay thriving, can keep excelling in order to educate the poor and disenfranchised black kids in the local area, right? My family, these schools, these HBCUs have is important to me because these HBCUs have educated my family, right? My paternal grandmother went to Alcorn State. Her sisters went to Alcorn State. My dad went to Alcorn State, right? My aunt went to Alcorn State, a HBCU, right? Some of her other sisters went to Tougaloo College. Like my cousin went to Morehouse, so on and so forth. These schools have educated my people. They are important to stay open because they're giving my people a shot to get a degree in order to excel in life after school. That's why we need them to stay open. That's why we need these schools to keep the funding there. You know what I mean? To keep funding, to keep the resources prominent. And in order to keep the resources prominent, you got to get the most valuable resource. And I'm sorry to say this, people don't want to hear this. The most valuable resources in the collegiate game and in keeping these colleges open is not the academic students. It's the athletic programs. Because a lot of kids, like, enrollment shoots up when you have great athletic programs. People go to schools to Alabama just because they have a great football program and they want to watch some great college football, right? They go to the Georgia, LSU, because they want to be around a great college football program, and they've been watching these college football programs thrive since they was a little kid, right? So now, when you make Jackson State University a powerhouse, that does something. That does something for HBCUs, right? And I'm glad there's been it's like a renaissance. I hope it inspires a renaissance at HBCUs because this was possible. I really want to say this because Deion Sanders, a Hall of Fame coach, is there, right? Whether the NIL deal, whether it was an NIL deal or not, if it was, I don't give a damn. As long as it's keeping kids going in the right, keep it trending in the right direction to not forget about HBCUs and help keep these schools open and thriving and keep them on and get the resources to nearly the same level as these Power 5 schools. I don't care what you got to do it as long as it gets done. And it's legal and it's legal. As long as it get done, I don't care. And y'all know these name, image, and likeness deals are legal now, so they can get sponsorships and so on and so forth, right? But nonetheless, let's get back to the topic at hand. I want these schools to be able to, the kids, the athletes are the number one resources, right? So that if you get these kids to come there, it's going to everything is going to grow. But again, it was able to happen because Deion Sanders is there, a Hall of Fame coach that has great credentials that's able to talk to these kids. So a player that played on the biggest level and was a superstar, right? A player that was at the highest level, they have trust in him to say, you know what? This man knows what he's doing. He has a pipeline to the NFL. He has connections to the league. If I go and play under him and learn under him, things are going to be all right, right? It's happened because Deion. It's able to happen, and the change is being able to be smart because Deion Sanders is there, and because it's the number one player, a top tier player, taking that risk to go to the HBCU, right? Because number one player, he's good enough. He's going to get drafted regardless. I don't give a fuck what nobody's saying. When you're the number one player coming out of high school, you're going to get drafted regardless because there's a reason why you've been standing out on such a high level for a reason. You've been competing against these other kids that are going to the Georgias, that are going to the LSUs, that are going to the Alabamas, right? So when you go there, you're going to be all right. You know what I'm saying? And then it's going to lead to a trickle-down effect or a snowball effect of other U.S. Army All-Americans wanting to go to HBCUs. It had to come from like a top five player, not a top five player, a five-star player, number one in the country. That could spark something great because some other players that's top in the country are going to be like, okay, we saw that kid go there, get drafted out of that program. We willing to do the same thing. Let me go ahead and go to Grambling State, where Mr. Hugh Jackson, a former NFL head coach, is there. Look, I go play for Hugh Jackson. He also has a strong, prominent pipeline to the NFL. He has strong NFL connections. I can go to play for Hugh Jackson and be perfectly fine, right? Another top kid can go, another number one player in the country, another U.S. Army All-American can say, you know what? Why wouldn't I want to go play for Mr. Eddie George, a running back that excelled for the Tennessee Titans, that excelled at the highest level? I want to go play for Mr. Eddie George and go play in his program. Why wouldn't people want to do that, man? So it's going to take some top players to spark this change, like Travis Hunter, and it's going to take some top NFL players or former players to make the sacrifice to go to these HBCUs and give back to your people, right? I want to commend Mr. Deion Sanders, Eddie George, and Hugh Jackson for going to an HBCU, right? Hugh Jackson at Grambling State. He just convinced a former UCLA quarterback, a top-tier player, to a four-star player to come to Grambling State University and be his quarterback. A guy left UCLA. A guy left UCLA to come to Grambling State University, an HBCU that's produced Doug Williams, the first black quarterback to win a Super Bowl. Like that is prominent, man. That is prominent, and it's happening because you have these coaches, these black coaches, or you have these black coaches that once played in the NFL or once coached in the NFL, coming to lend their services to an HBCU to help make that HBCU program a prominent program. So you're gonna need some more top tier players coming to coach at the HBCU level. Hopefully we can see a Jerry Rice coach at an MVSU, Mississippi Valley State University, my alma mater, one day, right? Hopefully you can get an Aeneas Williams to come coach at Southern University, so on and so forth. You can get not Aeneas Williams, I'm sorry. Not Aeneas Williams, I'm sorry. You can get a Michael Strahan. I'm going to say Michael Strahan. A Michael Strahan. You can get a Michael Strahan to come and coach at a Tennessee State University. You know, you can get a Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie to come be on the coaching staff at Tennessee State, his alma mater. You can get individuals like that. Hopefully that can happen. That change can be sparked, man, for real. And you know what, man? Even if this young man picked because I heard people say this, that young man picked Deion Sanders. He didn't pick the school itself. So what? So what? Deion Sanders being at Jackson State University created this opportunity for something great like this to occur. The same thing with Hugh Jackson being at Grambling State. The same thing with not Michael Strahan, Godly. The same thing with Eddie George being at Tennessee State University. You know what I'm saying? I'm looking at the basketball side of things, right? Mo Williams is coaching at Alabama State University. Lindsey Hunter, a two-time NBA champion, is coaching at my alma mater, Mississippi Valley State University, right? So I'm waiting for the ball to get rolling with these things, man, because it can bring so much revenue to these schools to help get these curriculums, even because the curriculums are great at these HBCUs, despite what people think. I've seen like people from my school, Mississippi Valley State University, we have a great STEM program. Kids from my school came out of there making $90,000, $100,000 coming out of that STEM program. I've seen it happen. So you can't tell me about, oh, they don't have nearly the same educational levels as the other prominent schools. One of my right-hand mans, Blake Riley, my boy Blake. Blake came from Mississippi Valley State University. He was a basketball player, came from the mass communication program at MVSU, went to Columbia, an Ivy League school, graduated out of there and excelled, right? And he told me, man, the curriculum at Columbia and at Mississippi Valley State University is the exact same. The only thing that's different is the alumni base and the prestigious name attached to it. We're learning the exact same things. There's no difference. There's no trail off or nothing. We have the same curriculum, the same expectations. I put in the same exact hard work that I put in at Mississippi Valley State that I did at Columbia. You know what I'm saying? And then now people just look at me differently because I have a Columbia degree. We have to make it to where, because Doug Gottlieb said, when you go to a school, when you come from Florida State, there's a certain prestige that comes with that, right? And he mentioned about basically how in the 70s there was this renaissance of the Ivy League schools recruiting the top black talent to come play basketball and football, play sports at that level, and how it did wonders for those kids to have that Ivy League connection. Well, guess what? If the top black talent come to HBCUs and help build up these campuses and build up these athletic and academic programs at the school, because when like I said, when the top players come to the HBCUs, the camera crews will follow, which will generate mega millions in revenue, right? Then we can have the funding that will be needed to get Jackson State to be able to be looked at in the same eyes and the same breath as a Florida State University, as a LSU, as a University of Alabama, so on and so forth. It's going to take them kids coming to give back to their people to do it, man. And I'm so pissed off that this kid is being criticized for attempting to do something trailblazing. He should be commended, man. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of pride. It takes a lot to do that, right? I don't give a fuck if it's because of Deion or because of the NIL deal. Just going at Jackson State, that means something. That might spark other kids to do the exact same thing, man. And I want to commend that young man's parents for letting their son stick with that decision, because I've heard other people say, and it's coming from black folks, man, I ain't letting my kid be the sacrificial lamb. You the top player, you gonna go to the big school. All right, that's cool, right? And I know some people are in different circumstances. Some people need money direly, where they're like, oh my God, I can't risk my kid going to FCS school and they may not get looked at or whatever. But Mr. Travis Hunter, he knows his future is straight. He's secure. He's over there with Deion Sanders learning how to play defensive back at the college level. He's also the number one player in college coming out of high school. He gonna get them looks and he gonna be all right, right? It's taking and him making that risk, he knows he has some cushion to take that risk, but him being able to do it, him going to do it, and his parents not trying to steer him away from it should be commended, because they understand the bigger picture. They get the bigger picture in this situation overall, man. And I'm so proud of that young man for sticking to his guns and choosing Jackson State, no matter what people think, no matter what people have to say about it, man. And I can imagine Deion Sanders coming into a family's living room. And like our fathers watch Deion Sanders play. They love Deion Sanders. Our mamas watch Deion Sanders. They remember prime time. He can resonate to these young black youth in a way that some of these other white coaches at predominantly white institutions can't. And let me say this too. A lot of times they be sending the black recruiters to recruit these black kids in the first place. The same thing Deion Sanders was saying in general, man. So look, you're like, who you think going to go talk to these kids, man? Prime coming in, talk to your mama and daddy. It's a wrap. A Reynolds rap. It's over with, man. And this is so big and so profound and so groundbreaking. And I'm so happy, man, because we need this change to be sparked. And honestly, I thought this would happen in college basketball before football, because we all know in college basketball, one player can change the outlook of a program in a major way. One prominent McDonald's All-American, or maybe two, can change the whole landscape for a program in general. For real, we've seen it happen time and time again. So I thought it would happen in football and basketball first, but it happening in football. In football, y'all, that's big. That is huge, man. And I don't care what these naysayers got to say. Hating ass dudes like Doug Gottlieb trying to talk down on the education at HBCUs and so on and so forth. His ass ain't never stepped foot in a college class at an HBCU. So how the hell does he know, right? He's just knowing about the money that's allocated and the difference in money that's allocated at these programs, right? And it's a huge disparity in money. When I was at Mississippi Valley State University, like, we had to play these money games. Furthermore, too, people say they're not going to be playing against top tier talent or whatever, right? They're going to play those money games where they're going to play against big schools, and you're going to see what they young men can do against top talent without question. But back to the money game situation, a lot of the HBCU kids have to, like, HBCU programs play these money games against these prominent schools in order to get money into the school because they're lacking funding. In particular, in 2011-2012 academic year, in my first year at Mississippi Valley State University, MVSU's basketball team drove in nearly $900,000 for the athletic program at Mississippi Valley State University, right? That's great, right? But they have to play these big schools in order to get that revenue in. Let me tell you the budget at Mississippi Valley State. Across the whole entire athletic program, there was a $5 million budget across all the athletic teams at MVSU, right? Compared to the University of Kentucky in 2011-2012. Kentucky spent $5 million alone on the basketball team. That's the disparity in money and finances across HBCUs. That disparity, that gap has to be closed. It has to be closed, and it has to be made nearly equal some way, somehow. And it's not going to be made equal if you got individuals like Doug Gottlieb discouraging young black players from going to HBCUs. The young top talent, if you a top talent, you a top 10 dude coming out of high school, you're going to be fine. You're going to get picked up, young brother. You're going to get picked up, young brother. Don't worry. You're going to get picked up. Go to the HBCUs to help bring some finances, some resources to the black colleges. They need it, man. Our schools need it terribly, man. People talking about we don't have the same alumni base. You're right. Mississippi Valley State University was founded in 1950. That school is 5 years older than my father. So we don't have the established alumni bases that these schools have been around since the 1700s. These predominantly white institutions have been around since the beginning of the 1800s. They got all these different individuals that came from oil money, that's giving all the oil money back to the institutions like Texas A&M. We don't have that at HBCUs. So the way for us to even the playing field, not just across athletics, but across the academic programs, to help get the resources, to get better equipment to all the different academic programs on campus, is for the top black talent to go to these HBCUs and to funnel that money into the colleges and universities. Funnel that money back into the HBCUs like Jackson State, Mississippi Valley State University, Southern University, Alabama A&M, Alabama State, Prairie View A&M, FAMU, South Carolina State. You know what I mean? That's the way for them to get that money funneled back in for the black talent to go to the black schools. But you got all these other people hating on the decision, trying to deter these kids from doing that. And that shit is disrespectful, the way they disrespecting HBCUs, man. This young man should be applauded. He should be congratulated, man, for doing something so bold, something so groundbreaking, something where it changes the status quo. And I'm so proud to see it, man. Again, Jackson State University has 4 Hall of Famers, nearly about to have 5 Hall of Famers. Mr. Jimmy Smith should be a Hall of Famer. Y'all remember the former wide receiving 5-time Pro Bowler from the Jacksonville Jaguars, Jimmy Smith. He went to Jackson State University. I believe he's going to get in the Hall of Fame. He's up for nomination. I believe he's going to get in the Hall of Fame. Have they announced that he has? Yeah, he's going to get in there. For sure, he should be in there, right? At that point, they'll have 5 Hall of Famers, which is way more than the University of Florida itself. I remember Deion Sanders was on the I Am Athlete podcast, and he was talking about when he first became a Jackson State University coach, and he talked about how he wants to even a playing field for young black kids, and how he wants to make these Jackson State program like Jackson State be respected and revered like a FSU, like a University of Florida, so on and so forth. He was talking about how he wanted to make that change, right? And make Jackson State that prominent. And Channing Crowder, you know, he always plays devil's advocate. He's talking about it's not going to get the same looks as a University of Florida, so on and so forth. And he say, because he went to Florida, he said, how many Hall of Famers does Florida have? Channing Crowder says, I don't know, probably a whole bunch of them. He said, no, they don't. No, they don't. They got 2. Jack Youngblood and Emmitt Smith. That's it. Jackson State has 4 Hall of Famers, about to have 5. University of Florida has the same amount of Hall of Famers as my school. Right? Same amount of Hall of Famers as my school. Mississippi Valley State University. Jerry Rice and Deacon Jones. We got 2 Hall of Famers just like the University of Florida. All these different HBCUs got more than 2 Hall of Famers. And then you got people talking down on it, trying to shun it. I don't respect that at all, not in the slightest bit. Furthermore, man, Florida State University fans, they getting pissed off. Florida State University had a chance to hire Deion Sanders when he first wanted a head coaching job in college football. They chose not to do so. He's at Jackson State University. Boo-hoo, go cry in the corner. Cry me a river, go kick rocks. If you pissed off about him taking that young man from Florida State University. And Florida State University been trending down for a while recently, for a little minute recently. They just lost to Jacksonville State University and HBCU, I'm proud to say. Jacksonville State, not Jackson State. Jacksonville State, I believe, in Alabama. They lost to Jacksonville State this past season. Now you just lost to an HBCU again because you got your recruit to shift and be like, no, I'm not going to Florida State. I'm going over there where the Florida State legend is at Jackson State University and playing under him. So how y'all like them apples, man? A lot of people just mad and just hate, man. They just can't fathom a kid choosing to go to a historically black college and wanting to play at an HBCU, man. That's the problem. That's all it is, man. That's all it is. People just upset and they pissed. They can't believe that this happened. But I hope that these other institutions and other coaches at Power 5 conferences can get used to it. I hope that it's something that not they can get used to. I hope that they are forced to get used to it. That other top black talent choose HBCUs to even the playing field in so many different ways, man. All these HBCUs have been, some of them struggling financially, trying to shift funds and all that type of stuff, trying to get funds, so on and so forth. Doug Gottlieb talking about, well, raise money for the HBCUs if you care about them so much. Well, we going to raise money by the kids coming to these programs, by the top black talent coming to the HBCUs. That's how the fuck we going to raise money. So you talking snark, talking about, we'll raise the money then. Well, we going to raise the money this way. And plus, because we ain't got all them damn endowments, hundreds of millions of dollars in endowments coming to our schools. We don't have that, okay? The state not giving us the same funding as the predominantly white institutions. They not giving it to us. So the way for it to happen is for the top young black players, the top ones, to have the courage to say, you know what, I want to do something different. Damn, my thing fell. Shit. Sorry about that. They need to say something. Hey, look, we're going to do something different. We're going to do something different. We're going to make a change, man. That's the way for it to happen. Machiavelli Mills TV, I'm out. Peace.